My neighbor called the cops on my dog, so I taught him what real barking sounds like at 3 a.m. My neighbor, let's call him Greg, had it out for my dog from the moment I moved in. I have a golden retriever named Max, the friendliest, happiest, fluffiest goofball you could ever meet. He rarely barks, unless the mailman forgets his daily head pat, but apparently even that was too much for Greg. One afternoon, I come home to find a notice taped to my door. Animal control had been called on me because of excessive noise. I was stunned. Max was curled up on the couch all day, barely moving, and my security cam confirmed it, not a single bark. Yet Greg swore up and down to the cops that my dog barked for hours. I tried being civil. I walked over, leash in hand, Max wagging like the lovable idiot he is, and told Greg politely that Max wasn't noisy. Greg sneered and said, "Your mutt doesn't belong here. People like me pay for peace and quiet. People like you ruin it." Oh. So it wasn't just about Max, it was about me. I brushed it off, but Greg didn't stop. Every few days, another complaint, another cop at my door, another visit from animal control. One officer even apologized to me saying, "This guy's wasting our time, but we have to chat." And that's when I decided, if Greg wanted barking, I'd give him barking. See, I do sound editing as a side hustle, which means I've got access to equipment, audio files, and a pretty good grasp on volume manipulation. I downloaded hours of high-quality dog barks, not just normal barking, but deep, aggressive, territorial barking from every breed you can imagine. Think German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Dobermans, the works. The following Friday at 3 a.m. sharp, while Max was peacefully snoring in my bed, my speakers kicked in. Hidden behind the bushes in my yard, I'd set up a timed playlist. The sound of what must have been 20 furious dogs erupted into the night. Within 5 minutes, lights flipped on all over the neighborhood. Within 10, I heard Greg's voice shouting through the walls, cursing and losing his mind. By 3:30, I saw him peek outside in his robe, furious, phone in hand. The police came again. This time, though, it was different. The officers came to my door first, and I greeted them with Max wagging beside me. They checked around, even stood in my yard, listening, silent. Not a bark, not a growl, just the faint hum of crickets. I showed them my security footage. Max had been sleeping like an angel the entire time. Meanwhile, Greg was across the street, red-faced, insisting he'd heard it clear as day. The cops eventually told him, "Sir, if you keep filing false reports, you're the one who's going to get cited." I thought he'd learned his lesson, but Greg, no, he doubled down, yelling at me the next day, swearing he knew it was my dog. So the next weekend, I upped the ante. Instead of just barking, I layered in growls, whines, even howls on a randomized timer between 2:30 a.m. and 4 a.m. Just enough to make him paranoid, never enough for him to prove it was. Other neighbors started complaining, not about me, but about Greg's constant outbursts. The cherry on top, I eventually forgot to disable the speakers one night when Greg had guests over. Right as they stepped outside for a smoke, the sound of a rabid pack of dogs tore through the air. They nearly jumped out of their skin, and Greg, he screamed louder than the bark. By the end of the month, Greg stopped calling animal control, stopped glaring at me, stopped talking altogether. Word spread around the neighborhood that he was the crank who cried wolf, or in this case, cried dog. And Max, he's still the sweet, quiet golden retriever everyone else adored. These days, the only barking I hear is Greg coughing angrily when I wave at him from my porch. Sometimes revenge doesn't have to bite, it just has to bark loud enough at 3 a.m.